I was 13 years old, and I was at a peace protest in Montpelier at the State House, recognizing the year anniversary of the start of the Iraq War. I had seen this stand that had these very interesting t-shirts on them, and I thought they were kind of fun, so I went to my dad, and they were looking for a donation to receive a shirt, and so he gave me $5, and I went to the stand and dropped my $5, and I got my little shirt. I mean, I come from a home where politics is on the forefront. I like to think that even at the age of 13, they were mostly my ideas that I was supporting. To be honest, in middle school, most of the kids, it was only 7th grade, so most of them sort of saw a brightly colored shirt and recognized the president's name, but didn't think much of it. One day we had a field trip to the State House of all places. I wore my shirt. I think it may have been a deliberate choice because it was the State House, and it's where I got the shirt, and it was a political shirt, so it seemed reasonable to wear. One of the mothers chaperoning, she's active in the school. She was a cheerleading coach and a mother of a student in my grade. She saw the shirt, and I'm led to believe that she disagreed with it quite strongly because she went to the vice principal's office and filed a complaint about it. The vice principal asked me into his office and had a look at the shirt, and we had a brief conversation, and he determined that, from his judgment, the shirt, while slightly provocative, didn't violate the dress code, wasn't particularly offensive, and it should be fine for me to wear the shirt for school, for the field trip, and for whenever I'd like to. And of course, the chaperone had seen me walk out of the office still wearing the shirt, and as I was going around the corner, she was going straight back into the office to have another chat with this vice principal. It was probably a minute before the bus was about to leave, and the vice principal comes onto the bus and pulls me back off of the bus and takes me into his office and explains that apparently it is against the school dress code.
The school had a dress policy that said nobody could wear clothing that had any drug or alcohol images.
Because of the image of the martini glass, there was cartoon depiction of cocaine in one corner, referencing his past drug use, a beer bottle as part of a badge on the sleeve, and the word cocaine written on the back of the shirt was all unacceptable to be on school property, despite the context of the shirt, the clear message of the shirt.
Zach had been allowed to wear this t-shirt for 2 months before anybody at the school said anything to him.
So I decided, what the hell, you're only 13 once? And so I put the shirt back on, and I showed up to school the next day. I don't think that I even made it to the start of the first class. I was hanging out in the hallways waiting for the first class to start with my friends. And the vice principal came around the corner and noticed me standing there in that exact shirt, and he said, "Zach, we have to have a talk." With that, my dad came down to school, and we got an official 1-day suspension for failure to conform to the dress code and failure to follow orders of a school administrator. We went to the superintendent, who was non-responsive, and we went to the school board, who was also unhelpful. And at that point, we realized that just person-to-person communication wasn't really going to solve this problem.
A student's right to free speech is considered a fundamental right. There's a famous case in 1969 called Tinker v. Des Moines that went before the U.S. Supreme Court. Mary Beth Tinker and her brother and some other kids in Des Moines, Iowa, decided one day that they were very upset with the Vietnam War, and they decided to wear black armbands to school. And they were expelled because of it. Mary Beth Tinker and her Her friends thought they had a right to state their opinion about the Vietnam War. And the U.S. Supreme Court agreed. And in a famous part of the Tinker v. Des Moines decision, the justices said that students do have rights, and they don't leave those rights behind when they enter the schoolhouse gate.
I mean, certainly it was a little bit intimidating to go into this courtroom and have a justice sitting up there on the high bench, and to have the lawyers arguing their cases and going through all of the procedure. But once I actually got up there and sat down and took my oath and started into the story, it was really just telling a story, and it was a really, really neat experience. I don't know any other 13-year-olds who had that kind of a look into the justice system.
We lost most of our claims at the U.S. District Court level here in Vermont, but we appealed it to the Second Circuit, and the Second Circuit reversed the lower court decision and said that the T-shirt was about politics, and that despite the school's policy on no drug and alcohol images, that Zach, because of the importance of political speech, and because of his right as a student to speak, and because there was no disruption in the school, he had a right to wear the T-shirt.
Before I heard anything from my parents or from my lawyer, I got a phone call from a Associated Press reporter asking my response to this new verdict.
The court essentially said that Zach was right to be able to wear the T-shirt. So it was an interesting case that had a long life, but in the end, it was an important case.
The images, as we interpret them, become part of speech because they are all part of what we take in and the message that we receive. And that by covering the images, it does inherently hamper the message that was trying to be conveyed by the shirt. And so the images were part of protected political speech, and the school could not ask me to cover those images.